is Kash Patel, FBI Director. We're here to brief you on the tragic event that happened today at approximately 2:15 local time in Washington, D.C., where two of our brave members of the National Guard and the Department of War were brazenly attacked in a horrendous act of violence. They were shot. They're in critical condition. As you can see behind me, we have assembled the full force of both the federal and state and local law enforcement agencies to bring bear all of our resources to make sure we find the perpetrators responsible for this heinous act. And make no mistake, they will be brought to justice. Since this is an assault on a federal law enforcement officer, this will be treated at the federal level as an assault on a federal law enforcement officer. The FBI will lead out on that mission with our interagency partners, to include the Department of Homeland Security, Secret Service, ATF, DEA. And we're thankful for the mayor's assistance in this matter, the Metropolitan Police Department and their skills in investigating homicides and gun shootings in this city is exceptional. We will work together collaboratively because this is a matter of national security, because this is a matter of pride. President Trump has been informed. We've been in contact with the White House. We will shortchange the American public with no resources to make sure we find and safeguard our nation's capital right here in Washington, D.C., and bring anyone responsible for this heinous act of violence to justice. I would lastly like to add to the American public and the world, please send your prayers to those brave warriors who are in critical condition and their families. They are here serving our country. They are here protecting everyday Americans and citizens around the world in our nation's capital. They are the heroes of this day, and we must remember them on this day and every day, and their families and the sacrifice they have made. I will now turn it over to Chief Carroll of the Metropolitan Police.
Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakor Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Shalom to the whole elect. All right, so as you can see in D.C., all right, there was a shooting of two National Guard members, and I believe they both, ended up passing away. It says they were in critical condition, but they ended up passing away. And, this is more sedition, more of an attempt at, an upheaval of this current administration or this current power structure, okay? But, events like this, whether it be a false flag, of course, we got to analyze everything, whether it be a false flag or, this really went down. These are the type of things that's going to lead to Esau giving his military the permission to let loose on you citizens, man. All right? Because it will be very easy for Nero 47 to stand in front of the nation right now and say, tell these, whether it be your local law enforcement, National Guard, or whatever faction of Esau's military that he puts in the street, it would be real easy for him right now to tell them just to go full throttle, man. And, the people wouldn't be able to really say nothing because, the people have declared war on, this power structure. They've declared war on the power structure, on the military, or, whatever type of police that they are attacking. And, once again, this is going to lead to, Nero 47 addressing the nation and giving, his troops charge to start, putting people down in the street, man. All right. This is Isaiah 59:19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Shai shall lift up a standard against him. And that standard is going to be the protection of Yahweh Shai. All right. Spiritual power. Brothers will receive, okay? But this is only for the hopeful elect. The enemy coming in like a flood is going to drown you citizens, man, because you don't, especially you 2/3 of the nation of Israel, because you don't have no protection. You don't have no hedge. You don't have Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai. So when the enemy comes in like a flood, like I said before, y'all gonna drown, man. They just gonna start busting your head, putting people to death, man. All right? Because the citizens are getting more and more unruly. And once again, this may be, Esau's order ab KO, but hey, it happened. And this man, Nero 47, he's not gonna be shy about pushing the button, especially since he getting punked amongst the nations. He blew a lot of smoke as far as what he was going to do when he got in office. And, things aren't necessarily going to plan. And, it's making him look bad. So how would he, this would be a way for him to, I guess, regain dominance or regain some type of control and be feared. Because ultimately that's what he wants, is to be feared by the people and by the nations. But the nations aren't budging. You have peace talk, then you have continuous war. You have tariffs and all these things that are not working. All right. So he's being made a fool of amongst the nations, and him, cracking down on you protesters or you left wingers, would be a dub for him, and it's going to happen. The enemy is going to come in like a flood, which I believe, Nero 47 is going to be the one to give those orders, man. All right, these things are occurring so frequently that people are they're occurring so frequently that people are not realizing the severity of these things. For a citizen to shoot at the military, it's crazy, man. You already have the left trying to tell the military to buck at Nero 47, not to follow his orders. And now you have people in the streets shooting, these military members, albeit, although it's the National Guard, it's still the military, So when the National Guard gets replaced by Marines and Navy people and Army, them branches of the military is more, more in the mindset of, busting heads, man. And, that's what's going to happen, man. All right, the enemy is going to come in like a flood. All right, this is 2nd Ezra 16. It's like it. It's like it. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 16 and 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. And those that fear Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is the Israelites, even the 2/3 of the nation of Israel. Those are the people who fear Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. So that's going to be the main target. Although the other nations is going to get caught in the crossfire, the main target is going to be you Israelites, you Negro, Latino, Native, Seminole, Indian. All right, scriptures say that they shall come, pardon me, they shall be like madmen, sparing none. Like a madman, a crazy man, and they ain't going to spare you all in the street. Because now, the people are shooting at them. So they have more than an excuse now to, run down in these neighborhoods and and put people to death, man. You know, this also could be another step closer to the MOTB. You know, we need to, as I speak from their perspective, we need to make sure we can identify everybody, know every moving piece and every moving part, know where people are at all times to prevent things like this. Because they're going to, this is going to be deemed as an act of terror or terrorism. And, that's how they're going to play it, man. So don't be surprised if you start seeing, these militarized police, start putting people down in the street, man. This is a severe act, for the citizens to be, shooting at the military, man, But the majority of people, are just going to keep going along to get along. They think there's going to be more game playing. All right. But sooner or later, I believe Nero 47 is going to hit the button and, martial law is going to go into full effect and people are just going to start getting put down in the street in retaliation, for events like this. But I ain't going to hold you. I hope that video was edifying. Shalom.